The idea of living an average life has scared me so much to the point where I've always been willing to pursue anything and everything in my life. I've always been very bold, and I would argue that it has specifically allowed me to create results in my life that I've never seen anyone around me achieve before. I want this video to inspire you to be fearless about pursuing a life that you continuously envision for yourself. And that the idea of achieving bigger goals and going after dreams that seem very unrealistic to the majority of people should be a standard that you set in your life. It should be normalized. A lot of it is not allowing fear to take over our life to the point where we settle for a life that is very complacent or not necessarily a reflection of who we truly are and what we want for ourselves. One thing that I can shamelessly say about myself is that I've never allowed fear to dictate what I was capable of achieving in my life. Instead, I used it as guidance to actually pursue the very thing that I was afraid to go after. I never waited to feel ready in my life. I stopped waiting for other people to give me permission or to validate what I could achieve for myself, and I learned to give myself that validation. Pursuing a life that is not normalized by the majority of society and going after goals that seem out of reach for you should always be something that you give yourself permission to go after. I have always built up the confidence of pursuing things that I wanted in my life by just taking the first step, by allowing myself to go after it, even if I wasn't fully ready, even if I didn't have it all figured out. And being that bold in my life has always given me exactly what I wanted, even if it wasn't perfect, even if the path wasn't ideal, because I realized that the more that I dream about achieving certain things in my life, but never giving myself permission to go after it, all that kept me was just in this in between phase in my life where I had certain wants, but I wasn't allowing myself to have them. And that is the biggest disservice that we can do to ourselves, is depriving ourselves from a life that is authentic and fulfilling to who we truly are, which means that we have to build up the courage to be bold in our life, to chase our fears, to go after things that are not necessarily normalized by society. If we really wanted, we could always allow someone else or ourselves to talk us out of pursuing something that we see as a bigger dream for ourselves. Because there's always a million things that can go wrong, but I think it really takes a lot of confidence to be able to bet on yourself, to believe in yourself, to really pursue that, regardless of whether or not it will work out for you or if you will fail at it. That is how you learn to build a life that the majority of people never get to experience. People who live a very average life allow themselves to settle because they either allowed other people to talk them out of pursuing things that they truly wanted for themselves, or they allowed their own fears to win. They thought about everything that could go wrong instead of the person that they could become in the process of achieving that certain result. Learning to be bold and push your comfort zone is a necessary life skill that I believe everybody should adopt. I have always been someone that dreams bigger than the average person. I've always been very bold. I never felt like I really fit in with a lot of people around me. And I learned to use that to my advantage. I allowed it to help me pursue a life and achieve goals that I've always wanted. Giving into your own fears is one of the fastest ways to kill your own dreams before they even happen in your life. And I think there's this misconception that pursuing a bigger vision for yourself should be easy, it should be effortless. And I think it's a given that dreaming big and wanting more out of your life should be a standard set, but the truth is a lot of people are not willing to bet on themselves. They're not willing to go after what they want at the expense of uncomfortable circumstances, overcoming fears, and embracing the aspect of self development. Because the truth is, building your dream life is a self development journey. It's all about becoming the highest version of yourself. And the only way to get to that version of you is to go through the in between phases that are extremely uncomfortable to go through, which especially means learning to embrace your own fears. From my personal journey, when I started to fulfill certain goals that I had wanted for myself, it only came after I gave myself that permission to go after it, whether or not I had it all figured out, whether or not it was going to be perfect, and especially allowing myself to make mistakes throughout the journey of it. I think the idea of never wanting to settle in my life has especially created a lot of motivation for me. It's created a lot of fuel to always take the first step towards achieving a certain goal that I had. I've continuously leveled up in my life, and it's because I always allowed myself to take imperfect action. I allowed myself to learn throughout the process. I understood that confidence came from taking the first step, from being bold enough to bet on myself in order to go after a bigger vision that I had. There are a lot of people who give into this idea of society's expectations and what type of life is normalized to actually achieve. But the truth is, nothing is impossible. Nothing is out of reach. The only limitations are either the ones that we place on ourselves or the ones that we allow other people to project onto us, which is honestly the majority of society. Let's be real, a lot of people are not willing to go after more in their life. They're not willing to pursue bigger goals because they think that they are going to fail at it. But that is the purpose of it. In order to experience a life that is extraordinary, that allows you to have everything that you want, it means that you have to be willing to believe in yourself, even when you don't have it all figured out. I always thought of it in this perspective that there are people out there that are living extraordinary lives, the one percenters who have everything that they want, who make a certain amount of money, living a luxury lifestyle. And I always told myself if there were people out there that had anything that they want and they were willing to design their own life and what they are truly capable of building, then why not me? Why can't I be that person as well? And that has really motivated me throughout the years to be bold enough to constantly push my comfort zone, to always level up as a person. I have never been afraid to pursue anything I wanted in my life. And it's not because I was fearless. It's not because I was perfect at it. It's because I just had a bigger vision and I wasn't willing to settle on it. I am not okay living an average lifestyle. And if there are other people out there that have more, then I will have that as well. And I have no idea what I'm doing. And if I can create certain results in my life that other people have achieved, then I would say that anybody can approach their life this way. It is about being bold enough to go after what you want and demanding it in your life. And especially never allowing yourself to settle for a complacent lifestyle if it's not what you want for yourself. Everybody has different goals in life, and it's so important to honor yourself and to understand your own vision, your own dreams, defining what is truly possible for you to achieve for yourself, not allowing society to define what we're capable of achieving, not allowing other people to talk us out of our own dreams and goals, and just giving ourselves that permission in life. I always hear people say that the most successful people in life are not the most talented, they're not the smartest, they're not always necessarily the best at what they do. They are just willing to go after what they want. That's really all it takes. That is something that I learned. All that it takes for me to build the life that I wanted for myself was just me allowing myself to go after it. Life is about expansion. If we are not allowing ourselves to step into the highest version of ourselves, then we are settling, we are becoming complacent, we are living a mediocre life. And that is not what we are here for. From my personal experience, a lot of things that I have always dreamt about were directly tied to certain fears that I had, and I learned to chase those fears in my life. I embraced the discomfort of taking action, allowing myself to show up every single day, and building those small habits that were going to create the results in my life that I could not stop dreaming about having. Being bold will always be rewarded and it will always benefit you. I would say that I live a lifestyle now that most people actually think is very unachievable, but it's not. All it takes is for you to set yourself up for success, for you to just show up for yourself every single day and decide, this is what I want. I don't care about what is in the way. I am willing to go after it. I don't know how it's going to end. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm just going to keep showing up for myself. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to take the next step. It's just about believing in yourself, adopting the mindset, allowing yourself to take action, letting go of control of all of the different variables in the way, and just keeping an eye on your vision that you have for yourself. So much better to say that you were willing to go after what you wanted in your life, even if you had fears, then looking back and being like, what if? What if I could have been the best version of myself? What if I could have had all the money I wanted, or building the platform online that I've always wanted? Whatever goals that you have in your minds, you are truly capable of achieving them. They are not impossible. They are not out of reach. They just require you to start adopting a different version of yourself that embraces fear, that is very bold and confident in their life. Confidence is built through action, not the other way around. We don't start out confident. There are a lot of things in my life I did not have the confidence to pursue. I just knew that I wanted them, and that confidence has been built over time. I remember a lot of first steps that I've taken to certain results that I've now created, and it's very embarrassing to think about the first few times that we really pursued something. But now I look back and laugh, realize that allowing myself to be imperfect and still believe in the vision that I had and to show up and be bold always eventually led me to exactly what I wanted. If you want to step into your potential, you have to let go of control and embrace uncertainty in your life. The life that you want for yourself is not just going to show up at your doorstep. You have to go out there and chase it, even if you are imperfect while doing so. I have never hesitated to go after anything and everything that I've ever wanted in my life. If I had a dream or a goal or a vision for myself, I always allowed myself to go after it, even if I looked crazy or insane to the people around me. It is not my job to make other people understand what I am capable of achieving in my life. That is for me to define for myself. It's so important for us to move through life that way. I know that if someone thinks that I'm insane for wanting to achieve something, then that is something that I need to go after because it's not something that's normalized. And I want to build a life that is extraordinary. I'm not okay settling. I do not want an average life. And so that requires me to go against a standard, to stop giving in to what other people want for me or what other people think I'm capable of achieving. That is for me to decide for myself and to be bold enough to just hold that vision that I have for myself. I promise you, this will build the life that you want because it's built the life that I want. It's because I was willing to show up and pursue things. Even if I did not have it all figured out, I have never been afraid to fail. Just be your sign to go after the life that you want. It is out there waiting for you to show up and chase it. I have never been afraid to go after more, and that's exactly why I have more now. I'm on the journey of becoming the best version of myself, leveling up and stepping into my own potential. If that is something that you see for yourself, then I will see you in the next video.